Hi, this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team. We are here at the Collaboration Summit, November 2018, session number 2. And I am thrilled to be playing puppies, I will say, with our next guest. We can't help it. We always have some puppy issue going on when we're together. But welcome to the Collaboration Summit, my sweet friend, Angela Stillwell, who, man, you've got a long list of things for your credentials, my friend. You've got a really sexy portfolio.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have founded, the Vulnerability Warrior. You've created Untapped Strengths. You have done so many things. You came from the corporate world where you rocked, and now you're rocking this online space in another huge way. And I just admire you so. You look gorgeous today on the outside, but it really just matches your inside. You are such an incredible influencer, and I appreciate you being in my world.
Girl, I love you so much. I am so blessed to have met you. And Dharma is clearly excited about it. If you guys can hear my Great Dane barking in the background, I'm sure she's showing her enthusiasm for this call right now.
She knows I need to pet her ears. That's what she's saying.
Holy cow. I mean, you guys have to understand, like, just before we were going live, she started barking like that. I'm like, yay!
She knows when she's supposed to talk. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, you have done the hard work in Collaboration 101 class. Mm-hmm. You did. You showed up, and I will tell you, I want everybody to know in the world how busy you were, and you still showed up and did the work. You still did all the things that were assigned, and I'm so proud of you for not only showing up, but completing it all and being able to graduate again.
Move my tassel to the other side.
Exactly. If I was young Pratt, I would have music, but I'm lacking in that area. And I want to start off by kind of getting this part over with so that we can just talk all about you the rest of the time.
Oh, but go on.
I would love to hear your how you benefited from being in the class and what you learned or what you liked about it. Just feedback. I'd love to have public feedback. And I didn't ask you this before we got on, so this is raw and real. Whatever you know. So I'm holding on.
Yeah, brace yourself. Hold tight to that little puppy you got in your lap.
That's right.
So the collaboration class. Okay, do you guys hear the feedback, or is it just me? Okay, good. Me. It's just chatter in my head. That's nothing unusual. So the collaboration class is an amazing opportunity to learn how to do several things. If you're in the online realm, or even if you have an offline business, but you are using the online realm to advertise, to promote, etc., it's an opportunity for you to learn how to interview and be interviewed, for one. Two, it's a fantastic opportunity to learn how to put together a collaboration agreement that is mutually beneficial. So often, I'm sure you guys get hit up too, where people hit you on your Facebook Messenger or your email or whatever with these opportunities, and the opportunities are to bless someone else's pocket, right? And the thing about collaboration is it's not just a win or even a win-win. It's about win-win-win for everybody, for the audience, and for both people who are collaborating, or the multiple people who are collaborating. So, it's just a really, really beautiful environment that is, yes, there's work into it. It gets you prepared for upcoming opportunities. collaboration. And it's an environment where it's safe. You can mess up and it still be okay. You know, no one's going to ding you. You get good feedback. And if and when you do get any criticism, it is from a constructive standpoint. So, you know, there's none of this, oh my gosh, I can't believe you showed up looking like that, or saying blah, 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 blah. You know, and there's so much of that. For those of us in the US, we just went through the midterm election, and, you know, people were dinging each other left and right for things that are ridiculous.
Yes.
Things that we have a right to have an opinion on, but nobody wants to hear that. And inside this class, you don't have to worry about anything like that. It's just it's a beautiful environment. And Kim, I thank you for cultivating that space for everybody to be in.
Thank you. I think community is just incredible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's almost a circle of people that are all rooting together for each other in a way that you just don't find very often.
Yeah, it's not almost, it is.
Well, yeah. So what did you benefit from the class?
You know, for me, I tightened up a couple of things. Like, I tightened up my one sheet a little bit. I think my interviews improved. You know, it's just little tweaks, and that's what mastery is all about. It's about continuing to, even if you have already done something, how can you continue to level up? And for me, that's what it's about. It's about continuing to level up in all areas. And when you learn how to do this collaboration process, it does help all areas, because it's not just about a business collaboration. I mean, do you have to have conversations with your significant other? You sometimes have to convince your children to do things, or friends to do things. You know, learning how to do this process helps you in all of your relationships. So, yeah.
I love it. Thank you for saying that. That, you know, communication is such a huge part of collaboration. Communication is such a huge part of business and just life.
Yes.
And we don't seem to want to level up in that area. And that is confusing to me, because that's the thing that can make a great difference. And I think communication, you being in the group, I will tell you, has added a lot of communication skills to the group. Because you are a great communicator.
I'm kind of bottom line.
And I love that about you.
There's no question about what I'm thinking or saying or feeling.
You're a safe friend. You don't have to worry that you're talking behind my back. You'll just tell me straight to my face.
Yep. Sorry, girl, you do not need to be doing that.
And let me tell you, I've heard that plenty of times from you. Well, so tell us, because this, you know, the whole summit, the whole premise for it is to be able to promote those who graduate from our Collaboration 101 class. And I cannot wait to tell the world about what you're about to launch, because today is the day. It's like official, and you have so much to offer everyone. I know you're supposed to have an avatar and you're supposed to like drill it down, but I'm telling you, I don't know anybody that can't benefit from what you're about to tell us about.
Thank you. You know, I am also in a group where we're working on improving our speaking and getting on various stages, and those stages can be online and offline. And one of the things that we were encouraged to do was to develop a BHAG. And if you're not familiar with the phrase or the term BHAG, it was written about in Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. And I don't think that Jim was actually the originator of BHAG, but BHAG is big, hairy, audacious goal. And, you know, it's something that makes you feel really uncomfortable, but it's a goal you want to achieve. And I kept thinking about, I have my tagline, helping businesses and people just like you to create deeper connections and improve relationships that boost your bottom line and overall success. And I thought, okay, so if that is my tagline, what is my BHAG with that? And he wanted us to put, a time frame to it and measurements to it, right? And I was like, okay, so over the next 10 years, so that's the time frame, 10 years, how many people do I want to touch by doing this? And at first I was like, well, if I touch 100,000 people, that's 10,000 people a year. But that didn't make me uncomfortable. I was like, I can totally do that, with social media and getting on stages. And, I'm kind of in the process of writing a book. We'll see about that.
There's no kind of.
And, so that number didn't make me uncomfortable. And so then I was like, okay, how about 500,000? Nope, that didn't make me uncomfortable. And then I was like, okay, how about 1 million people in 10 years? And that's what I wrote down, was to help 1 million people create those deeper connections and improve relationships. And I'm not sure that even that number is really making me uncomfortable. So my BHAG is probably going to be more than that, because 10 years is a long time to get something done, right? And with the way that social media is today, there's so much, the power of, to the nth degree, the power of separation and connection and that sort of thing. You never know. I mean, like one of my mentors and several of my friends, actually not one of my mentors, several of my mentors and several of my really good friends personally know Richard Branson.
Yeah.
So that's one degree of separation. And Kim, you're the same way, and when you think about it like that, you're like, so what is that number?
Yeah.
But there's only a limited number of people on the face of the earth, so it can't be more than that. We're going after the aliens.
I think you should change the M to a B.
You think?
I think.
Okay.
I've met you.
No pressure.
And I'm going to give you a little bit of encouragement, because, when we started Hope to Hope conference, it wasn't that long ago, and we just passed the 1 million view mark.
Yeah.
And that was not anywhere near 10 years. That was like 2 years. Right. And so I want to encourage you with your numbers, that especially since we have such a great tool in social media, that 1 million is really a small number when you.
It is.
I mean, I think there's 1 billion people just on Facebook.
That's true. That's true. And they're not all in the realm of wanting to be having improved relationships and deeper connections and that sort of thing. But there are 1 billion people in the world that want and need that. In order for them to be touched by it, they have to want it on some level, whether that's a conscious wanting or an conscious or unconscious desire on their part. So yeah, I agree. I'm going to go change it on my whiteboard.
I can't wait. You'll have to snap us a picture and
I will.
And then we can make sure we write it on our calendar to check in with you in 10 years today. And I love the whole BHAG.
Isn't that a great term? Big, hairy, audacious goal.
I hope somebody listening, I can't see the comments, but I hope somebody listening will hashtag it for us in this, because I think it's too cute.
It's an awesome phrase.
So, okay, I know the answer to this, but I want you to tell everyone else the answer.
Okay.
Why does it even matter that you influence those people? Is that about you? Because
no. Gosh, no. No.
That's the thing that I think is so sexy about your BHAG, or your big, hairy, audacious goal, is the reason behind it. Why does that matter to you, to reach that many people?
Yeah. So it came about when I was going through my divorce. And that's not where it started, but that was where I recognized it. Big differentiation right there. Because reality is, it started when I was a child. And it was only when I was going through my divorce and started thinking about, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Doing all that introspective work that we should do. Not everybody does it. I usually say that we do when we're going, but that's not true. Not everybody does it, because some people continue to make the same mistake over and over and over again, without learning the lesson. And I was in a 22-year marriage, and when I went into that marriage, it was not with the idea of it ever ending, because I came from a very broken home. I came from a very tragic childhood. And what I realized when I was going through my divorce was that all of the walls that I had put up, and I knew that I had put up walls, because that was kind of like a pride thing. I've put up my walls. I can compartmentalize. I can handle anything. You can throw anything at me. I can put that in a little box. I can put it on the shelf over there, and I can still go about life. Life is good. And, that was a point of pride for me. But then when I was going through my divorce, I realized that not only was that wall up between all of my relationships, including that with my spouse at the time, it was also part of my relationship with God, with my friends, with my family, with everybody. And, I had this permanent shell around me. And I say shell, but it was really more like, one of those bunker walls that's set up for, nuclear fallout, where it's 10 feet deep, can't be climbed over, can't be pushed through by anything, can't be bombed, nothing can get through it. And, as a kid, I learned to build that wall to protect myself. So I thought. And, we all do that. We put up these walls to protect ourselves, to insulate ourselves. And what happens is, not only does it keep the bad stuff out, it also keeps out the good stuff. Mm-hmm. And a good, fulfilled life is one where we have these deep connections with people. Mm-hmm. And when you've got a 10-foot wall, minimum of 10 feet between you and everyone else, you're not going to have that deep, fulfilling relationship with anybody. And so as I started tearing that down and started opening up and started sharing the stories that I was completely against telling prior to going through that process, what I found was that my friendships got better. My life got lighter, it was like this huge thing comes off of my shoulders because I didn't have to be so measured in all of my conversations anymore. And those who know me are going to laugh thinking that I was ever measured in my conversations, because I've never had much of a filter. But what they don't know is that I have had a filter. And I still actually do have a filter. Believe it or not, I do actually still have a filter.
I love it.
But, when everything is put through this major filter, then it's not the authentic, vulnerable you that shows up. You may glow to everybody else, but that glow is coming from the outside. And a true glow comes from the inside. The flame of a candle doesn't come from an outside source. It comes from inside the wick and out, right? It's this chemical process that comes out, and that's where the glow comes from. We just happen to see it from the outside, right?
But I think that's what I was saying earlier, even about you looking today. You look gorgeous on the outside, but your gorgeousness is coming from the inside. It truly is something that begins in the middle.
It absolutely is. I just talked about a candle, but think about stained glass at a church. It's pretty during the daylight, but when it's prettiest is at night, when the lights on the inside are lighting the windows, right? When they're lighting up that stained glass, that's when you really get to see all the texture and the brilliance of colors. Or if you're on the inside and the sunshine is shining through it, the light has to come through it, not just up against it. If you have a light shining onto the same side of the stained glass that you're standing and seeing, it's pretty, but what's really beautiful is when the light shines through it.
Great analogy.
Yeah. So yeah, when I went through that and then found this, to use the phrase, lightness of being, I thought, I have to figure out how to share this, because what I was doing while I was going through the divorce, I had sold my financial planning practice, and I was doing some freelance and doing some consulting and that sort of thing. Hadn't really launched my business. I was just kind of doing, odds and end jobs here and there. And I was like, I have to figure out how to take this and help other people go through this process. And, from a business perspective and an individual perspective. With businesses, it's about leadership development and really getting people to own their stories and share their stories with their employees and with their clients and with with their families and all of that. And with individuals, it's about learning to lean into your own story and then share that with the people who are most important to you. So, it's twofold. Untapped Strengths focuses on the business side of it, and Vulnerability Warrior is more about that personal process, making you a vulnerability warrior. People hear the word vulnerability and they immediately relate it to weakness.
Yes.
And Sigmund Freud, a quote of Freud's is, "It is within our strength, it is within our vulnerability that we find our strengths."
Yes. And I so agree.
Yeah. And it's like the phrase, "There is no courage without fear." You have to feel that vulnerability. You have to feel that fear in order to become the warrior that you are. In order to become courageous, you have to lean into all of that. I mean, the most courageous thing you can do is stand there open like this, and the frame isn't showing my arms, but, to stand open in front of someone and reveal your innermost being and your innermost feelings, your raw emotions. And this isn't about dumping. This isn't about just, oh, here are all the horrible things that happened to me. No, that's therapy work. And by the way, doing therapy work like that is not very beneficial. You have to figure out a way to process that. So if that's the therapy work you're doing, figure out a different way to do that too. But it's about being able to open up and share, that raw feeling with someone that exposes who you are, how you're feeling, and allows them to not just sympathize with you, because that's not beneficial for either one of you. It's about empathizing and relating. And I'm not talking about just being an empath and feeling all of the feels that everybody else is going through. That's not what I'm talking about either. But really getting down into the rawness of humanity and opening up your heart and soul to other beings. Mm-hmm. And that's where fulfillment and love is found. I mean, I have that, that line of products, "Love is my true north," and that came about because of the ugly election last time. But when love is your guiding, your north star, when that is your true north, then the only way to have that as your true north is to become vulnerable and lead with that. And yes, you can do that in a business environment. Yes, you can do that in any situation. Doesn't mean that you can't be firm. It doesn't mean that you can't stand your ground. It doesn't mean that you don't still have a backbone. And it doesn't mean that you can't do little things like cuddling with a puppy like that. It's about being able to stand in that place and own it and allow others to step into their place as well. Because when you do show your vulnerability like that, that's what you're doing. You're allowing the other people. Look, Dharma is right here. She's trying to get into, but she can't get quite over here. But that does, it gives people permission to be themselves.
Yeah.
But you have to start with yourself.
I think when you show up in a room and you have permission to be and to be transparent and to be vulnerable, then it's contagious.
Yeah.
And very freeing for everyone involved with you, because it's a hard thing to wear a mask or a costume every day and have to pretend that everything's okay when it's not, or pretend that you're not scared somebody's going to hurt you, or because it's not about that. It's so, I think of it as being naked, standing naked before everybody with your clothes on. Like,
and by the way, people are going to hurt you. That's life. That's just going to happen. Even the people who mean the most to you are going to hurt you. That's reality. People are human. No one is perfect. Everyone is imperfect. People are going to let you down. And guess what? The world is not going to end.
But I will tell you this, when you realize that you can love them anyway, it also gives permission for you to understand that you're going to let people down. Because if anyone trusts me to never let them down, let me help you with that right now. Like, let me help you with the fact that I'm going to let you down, not because I want to, and not because, that's something I'm setting out to do, but it is true. I have skin on. And as long as I have skin on, I'm going to let you down in some way.
Absolutely. And, that, again, it gets back to humanity. That's what we all, there was only one perfect person.
Yes.
And guess what? That person isn't here anymore. No, exactly. And nor do I want to be. I don't have that strength. I don't have that. Yeah, I don't know. Can you see Dharma? Can you see her?
I can't. Hey, Dharma.
Hey. But yeah, it's you have to give yourself permission to be imperfect, and you have to allow others to be imperfect. One of my favorite phrases is to love people where they are, wherever they are, in whatever situation they are. Love them where they are, because you know what? They're doing the best that they can. And that's a hard thing to understand. People get frustrated. They're like, but no, they're not. They're not doing the best they can. Yes, they are, because if they could do better, they would do better.
Yeah. And that's such a great point, because we want to be hard on people, but think about all the things we do that we wish we didn't do, or we wish we did better at, that we still are struggling with.
Oh, I have a long list.
if we had the secret to that one particular thing, we'd have already done it, and they would have too.
Exactly. No one truly wants to live in misery.
Yeah.
And yet, so many of us do it unconsciously. We don't
even know how to get out of it.
Exactly. We feel lost, and there've been plenty of times in my life when I have felt lost, very lost. Go back and look at some of my Facebook lives that I've done. I've talked about, feeling like I can't go another day. I can't do this anymore. There's been more than one time in my life when I've been at that point, or I've made really, really bad decisions.
Yes.
And would I love to have changed those decisions? Yeah, but I can't change them. And so I have to give myself grace, and I have to give myself grace going forward too, that, there are going to be more of those.
And hiding it doesn't fix it. Like, that's another thing. People think that if they can hide it and keep it a secret, it actually makes you repeat it. If you hide something, you'll repeat it. So that's the tip of the day. Don't hide it, so that way you don't have to repeat it.
Well, that doesn't mean, huh?
We have like 2 minutes left, and I want to make sure that we talk about what you're launching, because we've talked all about awesomeness, about what's behind it. But I want to make sure we talk about what it is that you're launching today on the summit.
Yep. So Vulnerability Warrior is the program that I am relaunching as an online program. I have historically taught it live online over a 6-week period. And what I'm doing is making it a self-study with some periodic Q&As. But I'm launching it as a beta. So with this round, there's going to be a lot of interaction with me. It's going to be a fun process to go through. We're going to start it right after the 1st of December. To get to it, I'll put the link in the comments. But if you want to, like right now, if you're just like itching to get on there and be a part of this and learn the process that I went through to make going through major transitions in life an easier process. It's never easy, but an easier process, a manageable process, and understanding where you are in that process and being able to get out the other side of it and still love yourself even more, love people around you even more. Vulnerability Warrior program is that program to go through. And this beta launch is a really cool opportunity to do it. I mean, historically, when I've taught it live, it's been a $1,500 course. And I've even, like yesterday when I was driving home from doing that workshop yesterday, I was thinking maybe I could do like a 1 or 2 day workshop of vulnerability. And that's cool. That's something that I can do at some point in the future, but that's going to be a lot more expensive. But with this will be a lot less than $1,500. And with the beta, you're going to get a really good price on it. And I'll put the link in the comments. And yeah, so it's going to be really, really cool. And what's available right now is Facing Change Courageously. So those recordings are already there. And you'll be able to go through that. And what that does is help you better understand when you're thinking about those changes, understanding where you are in that change process and what that looks like in those various stages. And then that'll lead into the Vulnerability Warrior program.
But I love it because if anyone that's listening hasn't participated in a beta launch, I just want to give you like a heads up. There is so much magic that goes on because you actually co-create. You actually will make the program that comes out later better because of your questions and the access that we have to you. I definitely am participating. You've known that since like we talked the first time about it. I can't wait to participate. So I will be in that group as well.
Awesome. Can't wait.
I think that it's an amazing thing because I know how much you've discounted it. And so I want everybody to like remember that this is not going to be this price. So you want to get in when it's like this price where you have access because you actually get more for less money. I'm going to like be like a salesman for a minute because you actually get the entire class, but you get tons of access to Angela and you pay, a small percentage of the price that it's going to actually be. I'm pretty sure you can't like tell me that's not a great deal. So if you need more, if you need more authenticity in your life, more vulnerability, more openness, and you need permission, this is going to be a great group to find that and to do it together instead of doing it by yourself.
Yeah, and and it's not just if you're looking for authenticity and vulnerability. That's a byproduct.
Yes.
It's if you are in a major, and for you major, this is your definition of major, not my definition of major, but a major transition in life that could be you know, changing jobs. It could be losing a job. It could be losing a spouse. It could be losing a loved one. It could be empty nest. It could be moving to a new city. It could be, I mean, the list is long, divorce, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever those transitions look like for you.
Or the good side.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Leveling up is also a place of upper limits.
Definitely.
Like I'm being transparent right now with that. I'm struggling with, we're going to another level of things that I haven't been there before in this business.
Yeah.
And so that's another reason I want to be a part of it, is so that I can bust through some of that stuff.
Definitely. And it's about what are the processes that you can use to help you get through that, you know, and to level up, like you said, from whatever your starting point is, negative or positive, and be able to embrace those changes, and not just embrace them, but use them as a foundation to stand on, to lift you higher. And every time you go through that, you know, mash that together, make that another brick that you put down in that foundational wall that you stand up on top of. And every time it's a little bit higher and a little bit higher and a little bit higher. And you have that much more openness and that much more depth and that much more connection with yourself, which allows you to have that much more connection with everyone else in your life too. That's the beautiful part of it.
That's such good stuff. Such good stuff. We are so far over time. I laugh because you and I always get in trouble with the time thing. We haven't figured out how to make Einstein time work for our conversation.
This is Einstein time.
We have to like shut this conversation down for a minute at least and let everybody go and definitely check out the link. Be sure and put it in the comment so that they will be able to click on it and go to it.
Yep.
Thank you so much, as always, for being my Wonder Woman.
Absolutely.
And being,
Wonder Woman. You guys, that's
got
a inside joke between you. Got a Wonder Woman bracelet on.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for today, and thank you for the gift of sharing, you know, your beta launch with the summit. Thank you for doing the work and graduating from class. Thank you for sharing your heart and your brains and your goodness and your puppy and Rufus, who's down there. I know that Rufus is down there. He is. I heard him before we went live, so I know he's there. He and Dharma have to speak every time we get on. Nothing like FaceTiming with your puppies. Like, you know. Exactly. Well, this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team, and we really are here to help you create sexy businesses for sexy lives. And just for an FYI, to me, this is a very sexy life. I get to have a summit with the most amazing people, and I get to hold my puppies while I do it. So I don't think there's anything better for me than that. I would have to agree. For me too. We will see you in the next session. It'll start at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I can't wait to bring you another amazing guest on the Collaboration Summit. Love you guys. Bye, you guys.